I'm trying. President Suchovich,
Here.
Mayor is excused today. Mr. Flota,
Here.
Mrs. Provenza. Present.
Then you're here.
No.
Donna. Do we have any additional agenda items? Emergency? No? Okay, we're gonna go to registered comments from the public. We have one, it's Steve Talpus, president of RAA. Did you turn a microphone on?
Yes, it's on. You can tap it. Sure. It's on.
Yeah.
What's that?
Take a short session here. No, you're good. Just,
Stay.
yeah, you're not being penalized. We'll penalize Vince.
What, withhold his pay?
Yeah. It's on here.
It's on Saturday.
Are you?
I tapped it and it sounded.
Hi, Sherry.
That's working.
It worked when I turned it on. Must have been like the last little bit of.
It
juice
must have
left
been,
in
yeah.
it.
It died.
Sorry about that.
Okay, again, we'll have Steve Talpus. I hope I said it right, president of RAA.
You did. Yes. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak in front of the. Verona
Can you
Council.
state your name and address, please?
Sure. My name is Stephen Talpus. My address is 5 on PA 15139.
Thank you.
I'm the president of the Riverview Athletic Association Board of Directors. So again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here in front of you today. The purpose for speaking with you today specifically has to do with Brooks Field. We have a strong working relationship with Verona Borough as our organization serves both the children of Oakmont and Verona. And it recently came to our attention that there have been some changes to the park policy. And I just wanted to ask some questions about that, just so our organization can have some clarity moving forward. Just so we understand how we can best serve as stewards for the park. As it's an important part of a lot of the programs that we share with our friends in Verona. So again, Riverview Athletic Association is the youth athletic association that supports Verona and Oakmont. And we also consider ourselves to be feeder programs for all of the high school programs at Riverview High School, again, part of our combined school district. So recently, when we arranged to have our permits for Cribbs Field, we learned of an additional element here to the park policy that said no park can be monopolized by any one person or organization. Meaning reservation can be no longer than 8 hours or more than 4 consecutive days per person or organization. And so again, I just wanted to talk to you about that and see what the constraints on that will be. As it stands right now, it looks like this policy is beginning in March 1st and continuing through November 30th. So I'm not exactly sure what the onus was behind that policy addition. And I was just curious to see what you had to say about it and what clarity we could get, because we're trying to run some concessions up there, as well as serving the children in our community, both in the spring with baseball and in the fall with baseball and flag football. So just was curious to see what the onus behind all that was and how maybe we could come to some compromises that will allow us all to serve the kids in this community as well as my community.
I think first we have to think about.
Stephanie, can I,
Oh,
do
sorry.
you think maybe if he has a couple things to
Yeah, oh, that's fine.
let him state them, and then we can either A, get back to him, or B, contact him.
Sorry. I apologize.
That's okay. I mean, I guess from our standpoint, again, we're looking for a little bit of clarity because, again, we want to be good stewards of the park. We also want to make sure that we're representing our organization well. And I feel like over the past month or so, we've been getting a few mixed messages up there when it comes to concessions and how we operate that facility. In addition to that, we want to make sure that we have a space moving forward to do some of the things that we're already permitted to do. For example, we have a couple groups of young baseball players that are going to be running a tournament up there and hosting a tournament as Riverview Athletic Association and using both Cribs 1 and Cribs 2 for that event. The other thing I wanted to ask about is, in general, I guess, have there been any conflicts in the past that were the onus for creating this type of policy? Are there things that we could better understand and help work around? As far as I had known in this role, and this is my second full year in the role of president, there weren't any conflicts that or anything scheduled through Verona that we weren't able to work around. In any of those events that you host at the field. So again, that's kind of where we're at. Again, hoping to get some clarity on those things so we can move forward.
Are those your two concerns?
Yes.
Okay, you don't have more?
No, I mean,
Okay.
there's just a couple things. It depended on whether or not you
Right.
were able to answer those questions for me now, how I would follow up, or if you follow up by emailing or providing a written statement, it's really up to you.
Do you want to, because you guys know the policy. I mean, we can answer it now, right?
You can answer parts of it now, yes.
As far as I know, there's been no other major conflicts with REA. I mean, there was a couple scheduling conflicts, but no battles between REA and the Borough of Verona. We're happy to have REA up there. I think, and Vince was on this committee and with Stephanie, our manager. I think the whole scheduling of the fields came, and they can answer more. It's not to hold anybody out. It wasn't to hold anybody out. But years ago, we used to just whoever showed up, we didn't have a schedule down the Borough building. So REA had their schedule of games, and then maybe somebody else scheduled something and didn't tell us. So if I'm not mistaken, it was more so we had more of a grip on it down here as to why, who had what at the time. And I don't think anybody's out the All-Star REA. I mean, we've always had a good working relationship with them.
It comes down for us, as the people in the borough building. You have it every day. So when people call us and want to rent Cribs Field, it does become a bit of, we're sorry, let us see if we can move something around. So it becomes an issue for residents. So if they want to have a party and you guys are there and it's a tournament or it becomes an issue, and it becomes way more work for us to try to schedule anything around it. And that's kind of our concerns right now, because you are there, the way we have it scheduled out, 7 days a week. So we turn a lot of people away. And I think that's where that comes from, is how do we find the best of all worlds?
Sure.
Because I understand that REA helps Verona and Oakmont. But it's 7 days a week that you guys are scheduled in our park, and we're trying to figure out just how best to fit that in. And it didn't seem to be last year you had it as much as you do this year. There seems to be some schedule changes that have occurred.
No, to the best of my understanding, though, we have a Verona resident. Well, we have several Verona residents on board, but one of our Verona residents is the one that's made the permits out with the borough for the past few years.
We understand that there's a Verona resident, what you're missing is other Verona residents.
I understand,
We
but
have it 7 days a week.
so
and
what
somebody wants
would
to go
be,
grad-
what would your suggestion be the best remedy?
I mean,
That
that's what we have to, we're working on figuring that out, and it may come down to us saying, you can use the fields, but the concession stand and the other stuff may have to be taken for parties and stuff like that, and us just saying, because we have to find a good medium. Because we feel bad for other residents who are getting left out of using the park.
I guess I was also gonna ask, then, as a follow-up, would it be helpful if we were more particular or more specific with our scheduling from the beginning? You know, that's something that we could definitely do.
That's right.
I mean, I just need somebody to clearly state that.
October 30th, 7 days a week. Give us your actual schedule of when you will be using the fields.
Yeah.
Because.
And a
I know
concession
you're using
stands.
7 days a week, so then that would open up days for other events, you know, people having parties and that kind of stuff.
Okay,
So I elaborate.
Yeah.
I was the one who worked. Basically on the new park policies and the new park permit applications. Primarily. Most of last year, 7 months out of last year, I worked. The reason we put the monopoly clause in is because either the year before or the 2 years before that, it wasn't you, there was another president or another person in charge. We got I wasn't on council at the time, I was on Parks and Rec, but we were informed that we got RAA's schedule, and it was Monday through Sunday from March until October, every day, 10 hours a day. And we called the person and said, you want it 7 days a week for 5 months of the year, like 10 hours a day. And they're like, well, we're not really gonna use it all of those days. We're like, well, what days are you gonna use it? Because you can't just block off a public park for 7 days a week, 10 hours a day, because then it's not a public parking. It's not open to the public if one entity is there for 10 hours, 7 days a week.
sure,
That's why we put that in.
I completely understand.
It had nothing to do with you, but it happened in the past, and we had to put a clause in the policy so it didn't happen in the future.
Yeah, and that's the clarity that we need, because, you know,
That's exactly. what-
typically, yeah, but I don't think necessarily that came through as clear as like somebody contacting us and saying, hey, we. You know, and in the future, I hope you feel welcome to do that, you know,
Yeah.
we certainly
that's why-
welcome that kind of feedback. To say, hey, you know, that there are some things we'd like you to do a little better, or to try and help us out and help the community out. I'm totally for that. So.
There's
I
no
will-
doubt we want RAA to be here.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
they're our kids too, you know, we're just trying to make everybody work together well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I'm the one who answers the phone when I say the park's not available and gets screamed at.
Sure, I
So,
can
and
understand
so
that
we're
would be
just trying
frustrating.
to figure out the best way to make this all work for
Sure.
everybody. And if you could give us a better schedule,
Yeah.
that we did ask, and I don't think it was you we asked, we did ask somebody for a better bit of a better schedule, and we got some, but not the whole thing.
So let me ask another follow-up question, if I may. So typically how we schedule out our seasons is that, you know, we have to find out how many teams we have, and then we build in-house schedule. Would it be possible to block off a chunk of time and then come back retroactively to say,
Absolutely.
these are the days that we would feel that we would need the park,
Mhm.
and that would be more acceptable?
And it whittle it down, like. we won't do
Exactly.
these 10 days.
And we know you don't have-
Very beneficial.
We know you don't have tournaments every week,
That's right.
you know, what I mean, so. You know, you might have it worked off now, and like 2 weeks from now, you don't have a tournament,
Right.
no. So we understand all that, but it's just trying to get a grip on everything.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, but I'm just trying to help you understand how.
Right.
you know, Provide clarity for you. That's how our scheduling kind of works. So if we could come back to you retroactively and you feel comfortable
Oh,
with that,
that's
we could,
perfect.
Yep,
Yeah.
And that would be, we're actually hired a cleaning company to clean the concession stand and the bathrooms. So that would be very beneficial to the manager to know if you cancel a tournament or cancel a week. And nobody's up there, we might be able to save some money and tell the cleaning company not to go up there that week. Or if you're having a big tournament, we can tell the cleaning company, we're having a very big tournament out there, please pay special attention, mop the floors. It would help maintenance of
Mhm.
the facility if we knew if you canceled or were canceled.
that makes perfect sense. So who would the primary contact be?
Stephanie.
Yeah, it would be me, but I'll actually send you to Teresa.
Yeah, I've spoken with Teresa.
Yeah, you and
several
Teresa
times.
will become very good friends, and it'll make her very, very happy, so it'll all work out. She'll be thrilled, because she felt like she was like, if they could just tell me if it,
Right.
so that'll be perfect.
Sure. I can get this communication to my board like today. It may take a little bit of time because we're finishing up the season.
Right,
But I mean, I think this could be very beneficial for us in the fall.
Yeah.
and in the summer when we have
That's
tournaments
perfect.
here.
absolutely.
That would be amiable for everybody.
We're willing to
Also-
work with we're willing to work with you guys on this. You know, we don't wanna, like I said, we don't wanna throw anybody out of there.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Also regarding the concession stand, it's new and we're gonna have bumps in the road.
We all are
So
children
we
having
welcome
it.
feedback from all
Yep.
parties that
Yeah.
use the concession
Yeah.
stand. We're trying to figure out a working policy for it.
We do as well, as it's actually, excuse me, I have Angela Davis here, who is the head of our concessions for the REA board. Did you want to add anything about that? Is she permitted to come up and
Yeah,
speak?
yeah.
All right. You know anything?
Yeah, I was
Hey,
just gonna say.
You need to go to the mic. I got it, Nancy.
Say
Thank
your
you.
name and address, please.
Name and address, please.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I mean, that's, yeah, I was gonna bring that up. too.
Okay.
It's just, no. In the spirit of that whole community effort as well, like we as REA wanted to perhaps donate some items to the concession stand to help, foster some more of this goodwill and provide, a great space for all of us. So we talked about some things. I don't know if you thought of anything in mind that you're interested in purchasing for the concession stand that you think would help make it.
If you want to talk to Red, he's the head of
Cause I saw Red,
Bill.
like, just
No, we just had
smiling over there.
we had a recreation community event committee meeting last week.
Yeah.
And we do understand your concerns and we run the adult flag football league, so we have to carry cases of coolers full of Gatorade and water in and out every Sunday. We know it's not optimal. It's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun at 90-degree weather at all, or if it's raining so we had talked about a couple things that we could maybe talk about with council and get like maybe a locking cabinet approved, if we had like a 2-door cabinet. And maybe
Yeah, one side.
LBAF and RAA
side.
share it.
Yeah, that'd be really great.
Stuff in there.
Cause I think that LVAF and RAA could work together. I'm not scared that somebody's gonna take crackers and chips or.
Right.
Like Angela said,
I do.
they're not gonna care if they're missing a pack of Skittles. But our concern is if we leave stuff packed up there and somebody rents the facility for like a graduation party, all of your stuff might end up being gone.
Yeah.
And we don't wanna have to blame people or figure out liability. So if we talked about in the committee meeting, if we could maybe get together and pick a big metal locking cabinet that we can store chips and dry pop or warm pop and stuff, and then you don't have to carry it from the car anymore. We put a card up there, but that's still not fun either.
You
Yeah,
have to go off on your.
Yeah, please.
It's just a little.
You state your name. and
Sorry,
address,
Angela
please.
Davis, 1414 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Thank
Oakmont.
you.
Thank you. Just to your point about the lock and key, I mean, if we can't get that sooner than later, then is there something we could do that? We're just under the understanding between the two of us, like if I keep everything, and I mean, the season's pretty much
as
over
long
now.
as you check with.
Stephanie?
Stephanie?
No, I was a sentence ahead. As long as you check with Stephanie and make sure that there isn't a birthday party or, because we have it one day a week, Sunday, and then that's it. But there's like the Verona Community Group, there's the Verona Garden Club, there's other people that rent it. Or I think Trish has had a couple birthday parties up there. Other people in town might book. And
That
people that book birthday parties give us like, what, a week notice sometimes?
Yeah.
No, and that's kind of what I was gonna say, like,
We're good.
if it's just between us two, it'd be, but if somebody comes up and I think there's a birthday party or something this weekend, then obviously everything would come out until we can
I
get a
don't-
lock and.
I personally don't have an issue as long as you.
If we
check
keep
with-
everything in totes and confined but
Yeah.
like I said, the season's pretty much. this week and next week is over.
We'll work, there's a lot of work to do. It's new. We've never had
Communication,
a big
Yeah.
concession stand like this, so.
And we're happy to,
How best to do that.
Yes.
But while you're here, just so you know, one of the other things we're working on in committee is a pricing policy to use the concession stand this year. It wasn't in place, so, we're not charging you anything. But what we want to do is work out something that's amenable to you, not the same price as someone that rents it one day, because you're gonna be there every, most days, so.
I don't see anything on the calendar unless it's Sunday.
but I was looking back at text messages that, or emails, I think between them, but I could be wrong.
Let me check. It's
Okay.
now freaking out. because I don't see
It
it.
might be an unofficial, but.
And Tree says that's kind of her thing,
Okay.
that she knows everybody who's in and out of that park. I just know emails and usually I just ship them to her, so.
And thank you for the lock. I know it wasn't for us, but it's very convenient
was
that I can
needed.
go up and just
Yeah.
do what I need to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
So you don't have to call the police every time you need to get in. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Definitely.
Yeah, so. Steve, no, sorry. So I think, a locking cabinet would totally be in the wheelhouse of something we'd love to collaborate with, maybe even some more things up there again.
We actually have a list, so if
Before-
you get together with us, like.
Yeah, I was gonna say-
Shelves and tables are great, but it would be nice if we had floor to ceiling shelves, so we could store a lot more stuff than just.
I was gonna say,
table.
maybe they talk to Parks and Rec before they purchase anything.
Yeah,
So, that we.
Yeah, I'm not just gonna willy-nilly. purchase
no,
it.
you can,
Yeah,
you can either contact myself, Tim is president of Parks and Rec, but you're not president of Parks and Rec, you're right, and Red is president or head of the
Chair of the recreation.
recreations, so
Okay.
you can either email me or Red. And we could I'll get on the same page, that way duplicates don't get bought and.
Sure.
You don't want junk either,
And we get you measurements, because a lot of, we're limited space up there, so we can get measurements of what sizes we need and stuff like that. So.
sure, we'd be happy to make some donations.
Appreciate it.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thanks for your concerns.
I apologize for any confusion. This was our first year with all of this too, so we're all learning right along with everybody else. So I
Yeah, but,
apologize.
I mean, this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
You can see some faces, some names. Appreciate it.
It's my daughter's first season too. She loves it.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Good.
We'll be in it for a while.
Wait, is she a team?
Softball.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Great to hear. All right.
The little girls softball team.
Thanks, Steve.
Isn't very big.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
You know, all of you.
Okay, there's no other registered comments. This time we're comments from the public. Public comments on public related items, please approach a podium or raise your virtual hand, state your name and address and limit your comment to 3 minutes, please.
No, not yet.
Sandy Dravicki Bell, 619 Third Avenue. I'm coming up here without a notebook this time because every time I tried to write notes today, I got this sick feeling in my stomach and very, very, very disappointed. Councilperson Craig, Councilperson Long, I'm kind of like excluding you because you're newbies on the board and that. But I'm here to talk to all the elected officials from the mayor through council. And also the borough manager, because the manager, I think, should be advising council. I think the only thing I can say is shame on you. I was at the parade on Monday.
Yes.
Monday, yeah. And to my great disappointment, not a flag from the beginning of the parade until you got to the Doughboy at the end of the boulevard in Verona. My father was a vet, my uncles are vets. I have many, many friends who are vets who have all died, who some have died. Okay, And I didn't quite understand why there were no flags on Allegheny River Boulevard. I don't expect an answer because I think any answer that I receive in my mind will be a bunch of bullcrap. I've talked with many friends about this. I've talked with chamber members about this. And to the best of my understanding, when I was on council, chamber had purchased somewhere around 70 flags. We have money to, in the past, put up baskets on the poles. We've put up flags on the poles. We've taken down baskets and flags from the poles. And this year, not a thing. And all I can say is shame on the elected officials. I know council's blaming chamber and chamber's blaming council. But it's ultimately the responsibility of council. You're the elected officials, you call the shots. Please don't let it happen again. Because I will go higher. Thank you.
I am gonna reiterate on that real quick. Whether you believe it or not, council is not blaming the chamber. And if there's any oversight, it was all oversight. We talked today about it, that we forgot to put the flags up because the new ones went up. And we didn't get a hold of AJ. I don't know. This is my first year as Memorial Day as president. I didn't know that if we needed to contact them or not. We always just assumed that they were up. So if there's any ball that dropped, you can put it on me. I just didn't think about it. And it won't happen again. And not one council person is blaming the chamber. So that's out of the wheelhouse.
I'd like to second that. I'm also a member of chamber and it was a great misstep. But I certainly don't blame the chamber and it won't happen again.
Trish and I talked today and we're gonna come up with a policy on when the flags go up, when they don't go up. So hopefully this won't happen again. They're around somewhere.
I will be checking.
I don't know if chamber, I don't know if chamber has them or AJ has them. I don't know that. Because like I said, this is my first year at it. So I'll apologize to anybody that's out there. And if they're offended, it was not a dig on anybody. It was a major oversight. And again, I apologize. That's all I can say. Anybody, any other comments? Nobody virtual?
The virtual hands.
Okay. Discussion items. Okay, we're down to, we've had our packets of minutes. I'm gonna ask for, we've had our time to read them. The past minutes, so I'm gonna ask for a motion. I understand there might be a question on one or two, so I'm gonna ask for a motion singly. I'm gonna ask for a motion for the minutes of the business meeting of March 14th. Motion by Dr. Carpenter, second by Trish Resnick.
March
Still order?
14th, I haven't had it.
Hold on,
Okay, any questions?
hold on,
Okay,
because you split them up, I have to,
oh, I'm sorry,
that's okay, I have to rewrite, so it's no big deal. It was Dr. Carpenter and seconded Trish,
Trish, yes,
okay, there, go ahead.
okay. Questions?
Yes, March 14th,
Yes,
under section 6, item C,
okay,
that is not what was said.
And I will have that checked.
Stephanie's gonna look into it and fix it to what was actually said.
okay. Any other comments, questions? With the changes, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Passed. The next one would be the Verona Borough Council Workshop minutes for March 28th. Can I have a motion? Motion by Dr. Carpenter,
Second.
second by Ms. Resnick Showalter. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. The next one is the Borough council community meeting of April 11th. Can I have a motion,
I'll
please?
make the motion.
Motion by Mrs. Provenza,
Second.
second by Dr. Carpenter. Any questions? All in favor? Against? Passed. And the last one was the business meeting of April the 11th.
I think that's the ARPA meeting.
No, we just did the ARPA meeting. The next one's the business meeting.
Yeah, the April 11th, our business meeting. I have a motion? Motion by Dr. Carpenter, second by Mr. Craig. All in any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Passed. Thank you. Next thing is the mayor's, he's not here. Does he have anything, did he mention anything?
The only thing he mentioned was, and we'll send out a text as it gets closer, and it's also, in the events that June 7th is the, graduation parade at 6:15 p.m. Starts at Oakmont, rolls through Verona, and then goes back to Oakmont. So like you said, if people could come out, that would be great, but I'll have more information on the exact route and all that. Will be sent out via text and also on Facebook and also on the website.
Very good, thank you. Next is Borough Managers, Stephanie.
The DCED audit is done. You should have all received draft copies of the audit plus the management letter. I just received the final copy today. Mr. Cherry will be here on June 13th to answer questions if we have any about the audit.
What's the date? 15th,
13th,
13th.
next meeting.
Okay. Next,
The next item is you should all have a copy of the lien request. That was given to us at the last meeting. I have sent a copy to Craig also. I think we need, it needs to be countered. And I think we also need assurances that other items will be taken care of at the same time.
I think we need to know,
Yeah, do we know what?
I think we need to know our numbers before we even answer this.
Yeah, and we will get all
Personally.
together. But I think the other thing, we also have to make sure everything else is paid.
Right,
Is there a way for us to know the breakdown, like? How much is back taxes? How
that's
much-
just what I asked for.
Yeah, the amount he's giving us is not, all it is to pay for the demolition.
the demo?
Yeah.
No,
The
no.
back taxes and stuff, I can only get you back taxes.
I don't think
for-
this is all the back.
No,
I
there's
don't
no
think
back
this is,
tax.
it.
I did all of that. work.
I don't think this is the demo, all the demo either.
No, it's not. So I will get exact paperwork done through Craig. And we can, but I think any counter has to come with the fact that. It has to, all the back taxes have to be paid, because we're not only losing this money because of an underhanded deal, we're also losing tax dollars.
Right,
I know you probably don't, nobody knows this, but I don't know if he realizes. I've been hearing there's some kind of gas line there.
It's 4 feet back. Matt said it's fine.
Oh, so they can build that?
that wouldn't have nothing to do
That
with
wouldn't
us
have
here.
Anything to do with us,
So,
that's not our problem.
Yep, that's on
I'm
him.
just reading the proposal.
Yeah, I mean, that would be something that they would have to deal with once,
Down in the gas.
yeah. From what I understand, it's far in the back.
Okay.
But. Maybe,
So we'll work with Craig on that and get the exact numbers.
maybe before you buy this. Summer camp request. Shirley Davis has asked for the following for the Methodist Church Summer Camp, which is Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 1:30. Bless you. Thank you. I don't know why we would have to okay this, but she wants to know if it's okay for the kids to walk on Heron to go to the Vernon playground. I think as long as they keep them safe,
Yeah,
we don't have any choice. The other one is She would like the approval to barricade Heron from Center Avenue to the alley behind the church. So they can, that there's an area for them to be outside.
I think they do that every year.
Okay, so I can just tell the boys to drop something, ask her. what-
It's also, no?
Yeah.
Because they've done it in the past.
For like a week or so.
Yeah, they do a vacation Bible schools, but they close it. But see, this is the first year this camp is at Methodist Church. It's always been.
And what's the times they want to do this?
9:30 to 1:30. We could, I mean, we could switch,
It's a long time to have that road closed.
we could maybe see if we could compromise on a time.
Why don't we see if we can compromise on the time or days? Are they gonna be out there every day? And,
At least it's not during rush hour though.
no, true.
And is the,
Yeah, see what their flexibility is.
is the alley gonna be accessible? Like-
I'll ask her.
Like, are they blocking it off before the alley or after the alley? 'Cause the
Coming
people-
down, they always block it off after the alley,
that way
so
the
they could
people
either go up or down,
go-
right,
Because
left or right, yeah, right,
Okay,
I don't want them to get one-way
Right,
street,
right.
people would have to back up.
okay. Oh, sorry, road paving, just a reminder, paving center. Before we pave center, the storm sewer is going, has to be fixed, the storm sewer extension has to be fixed, and then that part of the road. Will then be paved once it's finished. We are painting the following alleys: Oak Alley between Parker Street and North Avenue. Walnut between Athletic and First. Sylvan from James Street to the end at RCC. And Peach Alley between Third and Fourth, including the dead end. And then Second Street. So, and the bids have gone out. Center and the alleys have already gone out. Second Street will go out.
very good, thank you. Anybody have anything for Stephanie?
Stephanie, were you or the mayor, I'm not sure, or Sylvia, wanting to say anything about the bike jersey?
Oh, that's
I was
down
going to
below.
bring that up.
Oh, apologies. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll go to Finance Committee, Dr. Carpenter.
Thank you. We had a finance committee meeting back on Monday, May 22nd at 4 p.m. We went over a little bit the audit. And Mr. Vanchery will be here on Tuesday, June 13th, as Stephanie mentioned. The one big takeaway is that by his numbers, we ended up doing better at the end of 2022 than we initially thought. So that's good news. We reviewed, I just put this on here because I wanted to review all the different grants that we have going on. And so Stephanie was able to provide that information. It's very helpful. And we went over some of the projects that we're doing under the ARPA budget. Some of which Stephanie just mentioned, the Second Street paving. I think, we already have the bid, Stephanie from Wildwood, about Wildwood.
About the finish of the culvert,
Yeah.
yes, that's done,
That's
that bid is done, taken, Campina's doing it. And it should begin what we think we're gonna do. We're trying to make it so that Campina would do that and then do center. And then
Mhm.
center could be paved, so it would be one light,
Mhm.
because it's gonna be disruptive no matter how we
Right.
do it. So that is the plan.
That'd be great.
And the culvert, once that section of the culvert's done, our entire portion of the culvert is finished. And we'll have repaired ours.
Mhm.
Very good.
Cool. So then, we also, discussed the stamp bids. And, we basically had 3. And,
Can I ask a quick question on paving? Sorry.
oh, sure.
Were you and Matt going to see if along with that paving, some of those side stretches like Vogel's Athletic?
Matt and I will work on that for next year,
Okay, so not with this.
not this year. There's just not, what we need to do, and I was gonna talk to you about that, the robotics thing that we were talking about, putting that Excel sheet online isn't gonna work.
Okay,
Because if you look at it, it stretches roads and there's brick roads and this roads. So Matt and I are currently working on that. So there will be money left from ARPA to pave, and we are hoping to pave like Fogels and some of those. So they're not forgotten. They just might not happen this year just because there's only so much time.
no, I
Okay,
understand.
yeah, so we are looking at those. Like Matt and I said, if we had $1 million, we could pave everything and everything would be done. No, so we'll start with that, or it's our hope next year. We'll have a capital budget with that included.
We could just shut down the town for a month, pay everything.
Yeah,
It would be easier, probably be cheaper if you really sit down and think about it, but.
With the million, we could send everyone away for 10.
Yeah, just everyone go on vacation.
Yeah, so we are working on that, Jen, and we are also working on that robotics thing to try to find the best way to narrow down that information so it makes sense.
Sure, okay, thanks,
Because I got confused because like Sylvan's on there 3 times.
different parts, I got you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the way they indicate the parts is not something I can.
anything else understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, we got three bids from Daily Consulting, Pennsylvania Economy League, and Strategic Management Planning Program. And, we discussed this at the last meeting. And, everybody looked fairly equal, except that one of them was outstanding in how, much less they were offering to do this for. So barring any, issues, which we didn't see, I'm gonna recommend, and we're gonna later on in the meeting, make a motion about this. Recommend Daily Operation Consulting to do our stamp consultation.
Essentially what will happen then, that grant will, that DCED grant will then be written, so it's just a hurry up and wait.
And we'll owe whatever 10% of that is. Yeah. So, that'll come up again toward the end of the meeting. But anyway, any questions, feel free to ask me now or later. That's it, thank you.
Thank you.
But
Recreation and community event, Mr. Craig?
Yes, we had our recreation meeting last Wednesday, the 22nd. Couple of things we discussed, was, as I mentioned, was working on the policy with at Cribs for pricing. And to break it up, is, according to how much you use it, the pricing going down. Also, there was a discussion, and I want to bring it up, check with Craig on that, because RA put a shed up there. That, is that their shed? Is that our shed? Because it's on our property in a permanent structure, and also, like us having a key for that shed. Even if it, no matter whose shed it is, the borough should have access to that key for emergencies or something like that.
I know that RA put that in there.
Right. But, because it's a permanent structure up there, is it still RAs, or because it's a permanent structure on borough property?
We'll have to check with Craig.
We can check with Craig on that.
Yeah. There was also a discussion in, we have the agreement with RAA, like them maintaining the fields for no charge to use the park, but they aren't maintaining the fields. I mean,
Like they're supposed to be.
there's grass all over the infields up there. I'm not sure if they've even dragged the fields at all this year.
Well, I've seen them going over it, I
I'm
believe.
not saying they haven't, I haven't seen them do it, but they aren't doing it regularly if the grass is growing like it's doing.
I think your best bet would be to talk to them and.
Yeah,
And bring those concerns.
but, as they mentioned, I think this is the last week of their regular season, so.
Right.
I didn't want to bring it up tonight with them, it's something, to discuss next year. Going into the season, if you're gonna have an agreement with us to maintain fields, you do need to maintain fields.
yeah, I want to elaborate it. It doesn't say maintain the fields during their season. It means during the season that the park is over.
Yeah.
Whether their season's over.
Oh, I see what you're saying,
They
right?
still have to maintain the
Yeah.
infields, that's
Yeah,
that.
maintain the fields from
8
March to
years.
Are you able to talk to somebody on that?
I'll
Okay,
get his number and talk to him.
Okay, so just out of curiosity's sake, so I understand what's about to happen, is their season's over, so all these times.
Their spring season.
Okay, so
And then have
summer,
a fall season too.
what about, they don't have a summer season, so all this time in July that they have rented?
That's exactly what I was talking about. They can't. Oh,
Okay,
the whole,
I'm
You know,
gonna, yeah, okay,
But don't they have some kind of big tournament?
They have a
in
tournament.
they
July?
have
They have
July,
a turn-
July weekend, they have a tournament.
For the July
Fourth weekend. But that's it. That's all they have. There's nothing in
So 2
the
days
rest of
out,
July,
28.
the rest of June, the rest of July or August, other than towards the end of August, they start practicing. for the-
Seems like Steve's gonna get with his board and
yeah.
come up
okay.
with a
Yeah.
Well,
better date schedule.
I appreciate, Brett, that you know some of them, that I think it would be better to streamline it with Stephanie's other communications.
Okay.
That way it's all in one place and she can.
True,
Okay.
you're right.
handle all that.
I will check on the schedule.
But it might be good every season to like have reminders. Because maybe they have a new board who has in. We know how those things go.
Yeah. Couple other things, we are working with Bob on the pathway through Verona. The latest plan we got is it's gonna start at Steel City, down Arch, turn right on Sheridan. Down West Railroad, all that will be a shared road. Basically, it'll just be painted signs on the road saying bikes will be here too. And then when it gets to the parking lot across from the Eagles, it's actually gonna come through the back side of the parking lot, along the back side of Railroad Park. And then come, like, basically the sidewalk here to East Railroad, and then up, and it's gonna go up the grass between Center and Get-Go. The grass patch there, that's where the bike path is gonna go, up that grass patch, up the Center, and then it'll go down the Get-Go side of the boulevard to Plum Street, and then cross there and go out. Plum.
I don't like that.
And will they be riding their bicycles on the grass at the back?
No, they'll put a path in.
They'll put a path in. And also on Get-Go. Are they getting Get-Go's permission?
That's their design, and I know they were talking to Get-Go back in, so Venus, it's there.
I don't like that boulevard.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna get killed.
Mhm.
Oakmont is putting a light in the bright edge.
Yeah, but there's.
They
no-
have to, yeah.
Yeah, but these people riding these bicycles against that wall, there's nowhere for them to go.
And they're going against
They're
traffic.
going against traffic.
Well, no matter where you are, they're going against traffic because it's two-way.
Why don't they take them back Selden Way? Take them back come across at Center and go in front of Blondie's and go back Selden. And then hit Sixth Street and go back that way.
Because Oakmont doesn't want the loss of the connection to their business.
Because
It's not going in their business district though.
well, but eventually they want to connect to.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I don't like the whole boulevard deal. Take it back to tracks and out that way somehow.
Because that's private property, that's Daly's property.
Somebody's gonna get killed and,
Ray's idea, what if they went around and then they just came back out Plum Street and then made a right, they still get to go through Oakmont? You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I haven't been to the
Cross what you
meetings, but
said, Go back the back way, and make a left there on Plum, and come out and make a right onto ARB.
Because,
Because the trail is actually going back Creekside.
yeah,
It's coming down.
I think what Nancy's saying is, if they want to add on to the trail, they can come down Plum Street and add on to it from the boulevard.
I was just trying to think of a way that they could.
I just don't, I don't think that's safe at all. I just don't think that's safe at all,
Is there-
especially going into traffic.
Yeah, that's.
Unless you do something.
Yeah.
Excuse me, unless you do something like, what's that, Negley run up down East Liberty? They got every 4 foot, they got them mounted pylons or something.
That will be there.
See that, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
that will be, there will be,
So you're gonna have one lane coming south across the viaduct then?
correct.
Oh, man, okay.
but
That's
you're also
basically
gonna have
what
that
there is
way to
now.
slow everything down.
I don't
And I
know.
know,
There's.
I don't know what the final is, but I know there was talk of making the traffic going towards Oakmont go to one lane on the curbside. So there would be a left turn lane going into Daly's. So there'll be like 3 lanes of traffic there and making 1 lane going to Oakmont, 2 lanes coming out of Oakmont, 1 straight into Bruno, 1 left turn into Daly's.
So,
Dailies or
Daly's.
what about when they
Well,
get to the
that's-
center?
There'll be left, I mean, that's not gonna change. But what's
so
gonna
when this,
eliminate-
when
what's
this,
gonna eliminate in front of get-go is the right turn lane.
when this plan comes to fruition, who has the final say so on the trail, on the actual bike lane where it goes?
We knew about the Verona section.
Borough Council has a say so on that.
We also have the responsibility of maintaining infrastructure once it's there.
I've
Well,
seen
that's a
people-
question too, because it's a boulevard, it's a state road.
But we maintain all of the pavings.
No, we don't. PennDOT does.
They don't like the cross, like the markings. They do the paving, but we would do like the stuff on top of paving, the markings.
PennDOT paint's coming through there. PennDOT paints the road.
They paint the road down, they paint the crosswalk though.
They paint the center, but they haven't done the crosswalks.
I think
Yeah,
Well, I don't know about the crosswalks.
so we would also be responsible for the flexible delineator posts.
You know what, I've almost seen, actually, I have seen people get hit at that intersection. Because. The bus will pull over,
Mhm.
pick people up. And it'll just pull
Pulls
right
right
out,
into-
it
yeah.
doesn't put a turn signal on, nothing, it just pulls right out.
We're asking for trouble
And the
there.
cars that are in the straight lane, they're pushed up
Yeah.
left and then.
So
there's-
in this iteration, that lane is eliminated.
That's what I mean,
Yeah.
that to me, that seems a little safer. I understand
Agreed.
coming across the viaduct is still scary. But it eliminates that turning lane.
Yeah.
That the bus just pulls out the traffic anyway, so it would get rid of that. Potential for an accident there.
How do people get on the bus?
They would cross the bike lane, and I would much rather get hit by a pedal bike. Than a 40-mile-an-hour car.
I just think it's gonna create a lot of issues, because you got people coming from Oakmont, gonna be making a right into Gitco, so now you're down to 2 lanes. You know, it,
The bikes are trash.
I just think it's a bad idea, the route.
Well, I think overall, this is a really good opportunity for our communities.
I'm not saying it's not a good opportunity for the community.
I
I'm saying the
know.
route is a terrible route.
I know, but I'm just saying. We need to put our heads together and figure out how can we all feel comfortable with the safety.
I'd rather go across.
Yeah.
And go down in front of Blondie's and the little car dealer. And even if you have to, I don't know, shut that lane, that turning lane. The right lane going into Daly's, do something on that side. I don't like the safety, I don't like the going down to that wall. That's just scary. Cause down there, then then they're gonna have a light.
Well, let me ask, are the VOP people at some point going to schedule a meeting with council to present all this? With like slides and things like that to look at?
They can, and actually, they were going to come to a meeting to talk about, which one I mentioned.
Yeah, the other thing I was gonna bring up is that we're actually. Penn Hills, because they actually have their own paved planning department. He's gonna be the grant writer for a multimodal. Grant, which is basically using the roads for more than just vehicles. And they wanna work with us in Oakmont and have a joint resolution with us in Oakmont to support their grant. To pay for all the road work for the Vault Trail. And they're planning on coming either the 13th or the 27th with a presentation to us
Of June.
about
Penn Hills or Vaughn?
Penn Hills.
Penn Hills.
So, I wasn't sure if we thought it'd be better for them to come when Matt was here, but their planner is out of town on the 13th.
Yeah, they have an intern, but obviously it would
So-
be better off with the planner
Yeah,
than the intern on the 30th.
Maybe we can ask Matt to do that.
Yeah, 27th, sorry.
I don't know if he has other meetings,
Stephanie, could you see if Matt could come to the June workshop?
Yeah, I will email him tomorrow.
Thank you.
So this multimodal then, that's Penn Hills is doing that for the whole Verona, Oakmont, Plum and Penn Hills.
No, this, what we're working on right now would be from Steel City to Creekside Park.
Okay. And that's gonna cost us what?
Well, it's a 30% match, but it would be divided,
Between us
and
and,
we don't have an idea of what the numbers for the grant yet are.
but we're looking at hundreds of thousands.
That's another issue then.
Really? I mean, hundreds of thousands to build it or hundreds of thousands for us to pay?
No, to build it,
Oh, okay,
30% of that.
30%
Sure.
but 30% divided
or two.
by three.
Okay.
Yeah,
4 ways.
Oh, right,
Um,
five, yes,
yeah.
okay.
No, that section should just be the 2 ways.
Yeah.
As no,
And is it gonna be prorated by population?
No. Because we actually, if you look at the map correctly, we actually get more.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
if we would go to them and say, well, let's prorate it by population, then come back and say, well, let's prorate it by
Okay.
the amount of the trail and.
Goes to work,
Yeah, because it is- I'm sitting here looking at it, it's good, I'm
And,
like,
and we definitely lose there.
But there's no idea how much money that's gonna cost us.
15% of a big
15%.
number.
I can see that. I can see that going crazy.
If Matt came to the June workshop, maybe he could just come to the beginning or when they do the presentation, so we.
Good,
Not
yeah.
to stay for the whole meeting.
All right.
One more thing as part of mine, there was also a discussion of whether Parks and Rec should actually be part of recreation community events or their own entity. Should what's discussed and brought up at Parks and Rec come through my committee or come straight to council? Or rec is more, it's not handling the parks, it's just recreation and community events. There was no.
That was just a quick question.
Right.
Something for us to think about and talk about.
yeah, we were a little confused since the committees got changed. It used to be
Yeah,
Parks and Rec Committee, and then the Parks and Rec Board. And now it's the Parks and Rec Board and Recreation Community Event Committee.
What did the Park and Recs committee do? Did they report to just the council?
That was when Janet was on council, so I wasn't. on
Yeah.
council.
She was the liaison,
Yeah,
but it was sometimes, there was a lot of overlap with her thing and Parks and Rec Board and. Seemed redundant to have it twice.
right. Well, that's something we can kick around. It's not that has to be answered right today.
No, and that wasn't the point of bringing it up, it was bringing it up to be aware and think about the future.
Or just change the name of the committee.
Yeah, but you got 16 different people or whatever, so, and if you do that, then you mean change our committee?
Yeah, just make it say community event, parks and recreation. Or something like that.
I mean, I don't think that it should be Parks and Rec to be its own.
Oh, okay, well then do that.
You mean the Park and Recs board?
Or it's its own entity.
And then we just need,
Not Recreation.
but we would still need somebody.
You still need a liaison,
assigned
yeah.
as liaison.
It could be the liaison. Well, anyway, it's something to think about.
Yep, if it's not a
It's not-
dated, timely thing, we can
Not at all.
work on that.
we-
Okay, is that it, Red?
Unless anyone has any questions.
Thank you. Next up, public safety, Mrs. Provenza.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a meeting on Monday, the 22nd of this month. And the subject of parking violation fines came up. They have not been changed for a lot of years. So if you look at your sheet, there have been some proposals made here to make some increases. And like to have some comment on this, to see what your thoughts are on this.
This will also go to Craig. To make sure that we haven't violated anything
What's overtime parking?
longer than 2 hours.
On the boulevards, 2 hours.
But, yeah, it's different than the parking lots.
Parking lots are parking without permits.
But there's a few places on the streets that also require permits.
Right, but they would get the same ticket for nothing.
Okay,
That'd be
$100.
parking, that would be parking without a permit.
okay, got it. I'm just concerned that overtime parking, I know that you made the comment here, Stefan, that's helpful. I just wonder what we can do about that. I mean, are we gonna make a whole new ordinance for all of these fines?
We shouldn't have to, we're working to make sure we found. You can see where we found some. I'm gonna be working with Craig to see if we can figure out the rest of them. When we popped ordinances in to Eco 360, some came out, some did not. Any ones that came out, a lot of them came out with ranges. So if we just want to change it, we can change it
Right.
with a fee schedule change. The ones that did not, we're still working on, and like I said, we'll be checking with Craig to make sure.
But, yeah, because I'd like. I mean, I think if the other ones are changing and going up, I think overtime parking should go up too. If we're gonna make all these changes. And my other question is, does this cover everything? There's like no other thing that's a ticket.
It covers everything that's a parking violation. Like,
As opposed to a moving violation.
We don't.
Well, we have nothing to do with
We
moving
don't deal with
violations.
it.
That's the police.
Okay,
Yeah, we can't touch those.
okay, so this is everything then.
This would be the stuff we deal with. You know, and there might be more to be looked at, but these are at least what we know are on the ticket currently.
Right. So is the no parking like by a yellow curb,
No street sweeping. Those kind of things.
not a yellow curb?
Those would be
Fire hydrant.
fire hydrant,
Crosswalk.
crosswalks,
Crosswalk, stop
driveway,
signs.
yellow curbs. No parking would be, a sign says you can't park here for this day or at this time. Or
Or any time?
anytime, like if you decided to park on South next to the dentist.
Personally, I think people will still keep parking for $10.
But if you, the problem is you don't want to raise them to the point where you drive people away.
Or they don't pay them because they're too high,
Yeah,
Right.
and then they fight them every time.
I know, we have to start-
Officers, the
Pay an officer to go. And quote fees.
and I looked at, I did other communities and compared. 10 is actually on the high end.
Really?
Yeah, except for the city,
Yeah,
but I don't count the city.
You
so
can't,
I come from the city, I guess.
You can't
that's
count,
my
you
reference.
can't count the city. The city's
Okay.
just a different, and the city, anything by the college, that's a whole different animal.
Yeah,
We looked at boroughs that were around here, same size, we were same concept.
And we talked about it being a little bit on the high end, like Oak wants a 7
Yeah.
versus 10, where we're proposing 10. And that's not crazy on the high side,
you know,
but it might be just high enough to where we won't have to update it for another
yeah.
right.
I wonder-
150 years. Like, how long is it been since it was updated?
No, when that $7 thing.
That's still around.
No, but I mean, has it been in existence 10 years, 20 years?
Oh, no idea.
No, we don't know. We just know it's $7.
I think when I lived in Oakmont in like 91, 92, I believe it was like $11.
So
Well, I-
that $7 has been up for a long.
Yeah, I was
over
17, so I got a couple more.
Stephanie, you're
So
gonna,
if
you're
you
gonna,
pass it to 10, they might bring it up and raise theirs.
so you're gonna get with Craig on all this and then we're gonna work on this too.
Next we're gonna be working on, just so you know, is ranges. I
Yeah.
don't like the idea of putting in an ordinance. Council can change at any time. There needs to be ranges. Instead,
And are we gonna need to see, to check with Craig to see about what we need to do to change the overtime parking?
yeah, that will have to be a new ordinance. I know what will
Okay, I
have to
didn't know
be.
if that,
Yeah,
New ordinance or
I am
amended
not 100% sure, but in the ordinance, it says no more than 15, it says $15.
Okay.
Like,
But I.
all the rest didn't, and I was like, huh, but like I said, I gotta find. There are some ordinances I could not find, so Craig has a listing of them too, so.
Okay.
We're gonna go through and make sure we caught them all, but this is at least the beginning.
Well, my understanding too with the new ordinances, there's a section at the end, it's called a repealer.
Yeah,
And then basically it just makes any other ordinance before it null and void, and you go by the most current
yeah,
one.
I
Right.
just don't wanna have to write a whole bunch of ordinances.
No, we can do it all in one.
So that's, we're gonna work
Yeah.
on, yeah, so.
Okay, so you'll get with Craig on
I'm
this?
gonna get with Craig, because
Okay,
we have to
very-
make sure there's nothing we're breaking any laws
Right.
about.
You have to have an ordinance or you don't have anything to stand on to go.
Well, we have ordinances for some of these that have
Right.
ranges, so
Very good,
we'll make sure.
very good, thank you.
That's,
Mr. Provenza,
That's all we
That-
have.
that's all you have? Very good, thank you.
Yes.
Communications, Mr. Floda.
Oh, yes, if you look, I provide everybody with a packet, as a blue paper on top, it says Eckert. We discussed that. In our. Communication committee meeting last week. I'm not going to read it now, it's four pages, but I would like. Council to read it, understand it, and. We will be bringing it up, as our committee discussed, I think it's best to. Have council read this, If you have any questions, write them down, we are going to actually talk more in depth about this at our business meeting, so that way the solicitor. And the engineer can give their input as well, because they run many other meetings in many other municipalities, and we also need to look into legalities, because. There are Sunshine Act issues with having electronic meetings. So. That's pretty much all I have about that. We will be talking more in depth at business meeting about it. And I still need. Updated headshots to be sent to.
Craig sent theirs.
Stephanie.
Yeah, red, sorry.
I do it too,
I'll get it.
but if
Does anybody have any
if you don't have a
suggestions?
headshot on the website, please try to submit a small biography and a headshot to Stephanie. As soon as possible.
Is there a photographer in town that
No.
that shot?
Get someone to take a picture off of your phone, that's what that is.
Oh, okay.
You know, I can ask, if you're on the send me yours.
You probably could just go on their website and capture it.
Yeah, I'll just get permission. He's gonna hit me.
That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Anybody have anything for Mr. Floda? Next up is infrastructure and asset management. You got 2 minutes.
It won't be longer than red. Thank you, Mr. President. First item on my agenda for tonight is a review of the Healthy Nation Proclamation. As a reminder, we were reached out to by the American Heart Association and asked that we participate in the CDC Healthy Nation Initiative, Active People Healthy Nation Initiative. They're asking elected officials across the country to have their borough municipality do a proclamation. So they had a template that Red helped me to work off of, as well as Nancy at my committee. And this is a draft. Just wanted to share it with all of you for any comments. I'd like to do this at our June business meeting. Thank you. It'll be after the bike derby, but we'd also like to have a draft available at the bike derby just for people to see. I think this is a good time considering the many things the borough is invested in. Among others, certainly park upgrades. So also, I thought it might be nice if we could all read this. I wasn't sure if anyone had thoughts on that. We can break it up.
I read it. And, I thought, well, this is so long, but I tell you, I couldn't find anything to take out. I really couldn't. But I did want to say the therefore, the first therefore. That sentence doesn't make sense. Effective June 1st, 2023, led by Mayor David Borough recognizes the physical action.
I'll take a look at that section.
Yeah,
See if it's
Thanks.
smooth
Yeah,
out.
I'm just, yeah, thanks.
And I can post a copy of the proclamation online so people can look at it
That'd be
before we
great.
pass it.
Thank
That
you,
way,
Stephanie.
we don't have to worry about reading it.
Well, and other people can.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right, but we'll still read it at the June meeting,
Oh, yeah.
right? We will all read it.
I don't take.
I'll try.
Red will read it to me.
Section.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Take everybody. You get a whereas, you get a whereas, you get a whereas.
Okay, Brett.
I want shoes. I don't want to wear
We need more
You got
council
for you.
members.
it.
Well, whereas.
You're gonna have to double up.
Yeah, we'll repeat, we'll. Take bets on who gets the last whereas.
See, I do, why is. Why is the mayor the only person mentioned by name?
Oh, we just copied it from their template, but we'll update that to say,
Borough,
borough,
just the borough of Verona.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's the only thing
Where
that
Nancy
sticks
brought up-
out like a thumb.
yeah, where Nancy brought up, I think all we have to do is led by Mayor David Recupero, the borough of Verona recognizes that.
Oh, there you go.
And I would, put a title on top and stuff like that.
Beautiful.
Very good.
Great, let us know if you have any additional feedback on that. Second item under my agenda for tonight is borough pavement remarking plans.
Over the back. Mhm. This.
That's right.
I'm trying to remember which thing I meant. Yeah, I think,
No, color one.
I don't know. It's
No,
might be
yeah.
this one.
No,
There's
it's
an
good.
order.
Pretty sure I meant this one. So
Yeah,
we brought up from time to time the fading on East Railroad where it meets south, which is a problem that we will invest in repairing soon. But in the meantime, and perhaps even once we do repair it, update it, I saw another borough that had just the white markings on the exterior of the red brick, and I thought that still did a good job of accenting the crosswalk and looked nice. And so I thought this might be something that we could do in-house, very inexpensive whenever the team does the other remarkings this summer. But I wanted to just share it first to make sure that we like it.
I do have a question about that.
Yes.
I think we need to check on that first. Because that is a special paint on those bricks.
Yes.
If we paint over that, will that cause a problem when they go to try and put the special? Well, but that'll take care of the outside, but what about the inside line, which would go over top of the bricks that are there? The brick markings that are there, because that whole intersection is the red paint.
Yeah.
So if we put white lines on top of that, not the outside, I'm not worried about the outside, and I'm worried about inside it, to actually define.
Well, I think once you mark them too, you're always gonna wanna keep it marked as a crosswalk. So even if it does go over and it doesn't come off, you're still gonna be,
Okay.
you're still gonna
I
have,
just-
have your crosswalk.
I just
correct?
didn't wanna have, when they go to do the other coating on it, say, oh, that's a problem, we gotta do, major work to get that paint off of there because this stuff won't stick to it, but,
Something to look into.
yeah. that's all.
Sure,
And
yeah,
just-
run it by
And
Matt.
just so you know, as you're looking at these, and then she'll have another picture of ADA ramps, we are actually in the process, Matt and I are writing a multimodal grant also.
Mhm.
That will work on a trail, basically of sidewalks and making sure sidewalks, ADA ramps, crosswalks, all of that stuff. Connects all the parks. So that there's, anytime you walk to the park, there's, whether it be by wheelchair, whatever, there would be the ADA, so. We are working on that to connect, so basically it would basically connect the entire city. So we are working on a multimodal for that too.
That's exciting, Stephanie. Some long needed upgrades. to
Yeah.
our ADA.
So we might be able to look at, the real fancy, because this is really. And all of, in all the areas to really brighten it up.
That's a great idea. I love it.
Do I have another question? which was brought up a little earlier about the crosswalks going across ARD. And the rest of the town, but I was just happened to be sitting at a red light at center, right at ARB by get-go. And I looked to my left and there's like basically no crosswalk.
I will check about,
So I don't know about, yeah, if PennDOT has to do that or if we
I
can
will
do
check.
it, but. Hopefully the rest of the town, they started.
I think they always do all the
2021,
crosswalks and all that when school starts.
So
but
they
they
hadn't
haven't done.
because the paint was back ordered
Yeah.
for a period, but we are actually getting more paint. So thank you for mentioning that. Because I'm hoping that we could have DPW remark as much as possible.
Yeah.
Certainly that.
They started down by the tracks and then I guess they ran out of paint, that was in 2021.
Yeah, and
But
that's
it
what,
looked beautiful, stop and all that, it was wonderful.
that's what last month I had Stephanie question DPW about how much paint we needed.
yeah, so we have,
We did get those numbers.
Great.
they
Yeah.
just said, do not get too excited, there's 3 of them. It will
Yeah.
take them a long time, so pick your crosswalks you really want first. And they'll work their way around.
We can do that in our next infrastructure.
Yeah.
meeting. That's helpful.
Because like they said, they still have to do everything else too, and some of the new markings that Trish has for us.
Thank you. So I think I didn't need both, but thank you for helping me out. So the other diagram you'll have, I just wanna see if you would share this one. This picture.
And this one's in color.
The color.
In my color. So part of my project with this organization called the Champions Institute is to help to make an area in our borough safer for walkability. And I thought since we're paving the section of Sylvan that leads from James into RCC, that I could try to take a closer magnifying glasses area and enhance all the features that will make it safer for pedestrians. So you'll see on this diagram that we are suggesting marking crosswalks across Sylvan on both sides of James.
If you want, you can just hop on. Great, you screenshot.
Okay. I'm gonna finish talking and then maybe I'll share it at the end, otherwise I'll be.
I just,
Thank you.
I'm not signed in to my email.
You're fine. Thank you, Vince. So yeah, I will share the image for anybody watching online in a moment, but crosswalks on both sides of James. Both sides are still
James and Silver.
U shape. Thank you. And then across James connecting the sidewalks. Once you're into the section of Sylvan heading to the preschool, I am asking for the purchase of a stencil that's the pedestrian sign that would go on the road. And then an enhanced marking for the section that cars potentially traverse into the Demore parking lot. Alongside of that, we're adding pedestrian crossing signs across James on both sides of that crosswalk. So that funding is coming from an interesting situation through the county public health department. It's not a grant. They just reached out because they heard that we were participating in this project and said they had some money to spend out before the end of the fiscal year. So they are donating a big portion of the paint. I don't know if we're gonna get quite enough to remark the whole town, but certainly enough for this section, and we can triage.
They're donating the actual paint.
Yes, they will be procuring the paint, as well as the pedestrian signs. This brings me to my ask. So to go along with the crosswalks, I'm asking that we do ADA ramps with this paving in this section. So this would be on each of these 4 corners, the diagram that I will share now while you all mull it over. And
Trish, I'm on, he just has to let me share.
oh, okay, thank you.
Share.
My inability to talk and multitask. Thank you, Stephanie. So to reiterate, I'm asking that we add ADA ramps here at this section with James and Sylvan to go along with the paving that we're doing at Sylvan in order to enhance the pedestrian safety for this area, which, as you all know, includes a lot of seniors, many who have walkers or maybe in a wheelchair, as well as many families who have strollers that may be crossing into the preschool there are also sections of this town that, are lower income, which makes it more likely that they may not have a car. So, there's also a socioeconomic factor at play here. So I would request that we would use some of the ARPA funds in order to cover the cost of adding these, ADA curb ramps, which we can get exact figures from that, but will be in the realm of $1,000. A few thousand, yeah, I think in the past we said 3,000 to 5,000, but don't, per corner, but don't quote me.
No, that's fine. I do have a question. Since we fund the surplus from the audit,
Mhm.
could we possibly use that money instead of the ARPA money,
Yeah, I'm not,
save ARPA money for next year for.
I certainly want to use our money efficiently, so if council thinks that would be the most efficient spending, yeah. For that.
I think we need to get pricing,
Oh, for sure.
Mhm.
you know,
I mean, I don't think we're expecting an answer tonight.
I didn't hear any of that because I was too busy trying to.
I know,
figure
time
Zoom
flat,
out.
right, I'm sorry,
It's. Trish proposed.
Just about this year and next year's ARPA.
Well, it was using the surplus from the audit
yeah,
to pay for the cross, the handicap
ADA.
ramps as opposed to ARPA money and save the ARPA money for next year for stuff that comes out as maybe paving or any emergency stuff that we encounter
Seems to make sense.
between now and next year.
now this walkway sidewalk you're talking, is there enough room on that road for,
it's not really any addition other than, just the paint
Mhm.
here. I did ask Matt to check if there was any right-of-way opportunities.
that's
But,
probably all Piedmore Tire property.
right, I'm not sure about that.
So
That
you're talking
that
these
would
two
be
ramps for ADA.
Here and then here too. So right, if there was any opportunity to add a sidewalk, that would not be within the scope of this project.
I think we need to get pricing on that before we give some type of okay personally. Because, we don't even, money wise, you don't know what's left out of that surplus. When we say we can use that, that's fine to use,
Right.
but how much is there and how much do we have and how much are we
No, I
gonna
understand.
potentially spend out?
There's a lot of
Right,
needs, a lot of
right.
needs. So Stephanie, could you add to your list? that?
It's already on.
Thank you. It says host disabled sharing.
I had the same problem.
I
So, yeah.
think it might be something in the settings.
Yeah. Go to security. On Vince's computer and say it's okay.
I think you did that though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We've been having problems. Look, it's share screen. Multiple participants can share simultaneously.
Oh, whatever you just did worked.
I just clicked it on and off of it.
Here, I got it.
Thank you. Teamwork makes the dream work.
There you go.
Thank you.
Oops.
Okay, so to reiterate, we are adding these crosswalks on James and Sylvan. And with the money from the Public Health Department, also adding additional markings on Sylvan heading into RCC, including the pedestrian pencil and a crosswalk delineating the section that would head into Gilmore Towers. I'm asking for us to, for the borough to consider using ARPA or another source to also add ADA ramps coinciding with this paving. Stephanie's gonna ask Matt for pricing so we can make a final decision. Thank you. Where are we at? Maybe I will be longer than that.
You're pushing it.
There aren't currently ADA ramps around the gardens.
No.
I know.
There's not,
Just on West Railroad. Not in the alley.
Right.
and there's not, an ADA entrance into T-Miller unless you go all the way down to the end. We noticed that the other day. Really.
It's shocking.
Yeah, so.
So I did ABD, I guess. So this may or may not come to fruition anytime soon. This was another idea I was discussing with Andrea. So she's with the county public health department as an idea, since we're interested in increasing walkability, to have these signs made up. So Wilkinsburg has a said sign that they post around town. I would imagine their parks and green spaces. that for anyone new to the area who's visiting or just moved here, suggest different walking paths. So should funding be available in that grant or perhaps down the road, if there's not, I just wanted council feedback on whether or not we would like something like this. So we could have a map that includes major stops, and I thought you can stop sharing that one, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you. Thought we could include, items of interest in Lower Verona. No, you're not supposed to call it Lower Verona. But including the public docks, Riverbank Park, Railroad Park, the community garden, the municipal parking lots, the borough building, and the business district. We could also possibly include any historical items, such as the historical boathouses or any other items like that. So I just wanted your feedback on A, whether or not we think this is a good idea, and B, if there's any other items you'd like to potentially add to this.
We could look at putting that in the multi.
Awesome.
Do you have an idea where you would like the sign to go?
I definitely think our parks, and I also thought in this area we were just talking about around the senior center might be a good spot.
And then maybe have brochures in the vestibule, that they're the same information, just
Mhm.
smaller.
Right.
Even a QR code.
'Cause now we have
Now
the, and Tony DeLuca maps up there.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have a run specialized map
And
Yeah.
maybe
with
have-
all of the,
Mhm.
And maybe have one of the big signs, somewhere in the main block,
Yes,
yeah. I don't
Or
know
even
where,
in-
somewhere.
definitely.
we
Maybe
could put one in the lobby even.
lobby is a great idea, or yeah, or
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea.
yeah.
So we have to wait till we get a grant now.
Well, like I said, she wasn't sure how much money would be left for us to spend out, so had we gotten all of our crosswalk paint that our dreams, this was an idea if there was texture. They have a template, so it'll be pretty.
But I think it's something we could work on.
Yeah.
And just, have a place on the website, with a QR code, the people can pull this map up themselves.
Yeah.
With that, not necessarily needing the signage at this point, we can start with the walk and tour. And add the signage as money becomes.
Right.
That's awesome, Red. I'm gonna put that back on our agenda for sure. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from council at this time? Okay, thank you, everyone. Sorry that took a minute.
Sorry, thank you. Good job, Trish. The next is Community Development Committee, Mr. Long.
Yes, we had a job description up there for, code enforcement officer, we got a couple of applications. Community development interviewed them, we will be going into executive session to talk about.
Very good. Anything else?
Nope, that's all I got.
Okay, very good. Action items. We need a motion to approve the RFP for the stamp program grant.
But I'll make the motion to approve the proposal as a result of the RFP for the stamp grant.
Which company?
Daily.
Oh, right.
Daily.
Make a motion to recommend daily operation consulting.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter,
I'll second that.
second by Mr. Craig. Any questions? All in favor? Against? Passed. Announcements and information. Newsletter, Mrs. Provenza.
Thank you, Mr. President. The newsletter is currently at the post office. We should have it in our mailbox, if not tomorrow, in the next day or so. And ads and articles we're going to be due on Wednesday, August 1st. And this issue is going to cover September, October, and November. Chamber of Commerce, the next meeting is going to be Tuesday, June 20th at 7 p.m. here in the Borough Building. Farmers Market is going to start also Thursday, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. And the Bull River food truck will be here, and also there will be a young lady here doing balloons for children. And Thursday, our chamber is inviting our council to a networking night, and it's going to be at the Acclamation Brewery from 5 to 8 p.m. And they'd hope to see all of us there from the council. They've asked that I please announce that. The Twin Borough Ministries and Community Dinner is going to be held tomorrow from 4:30 to 6:30. And it's going to be hosted by the Presbyterian Church. And now people can eat in the church hall. For quite some time, it was closed off. Now it is open again. And for Alon, I called and they said right now they're just finalizing everything for the Diamond Run Golf Club. They're going to have in Sweat Lake, and that's going to be Monday, June the 5th. And I just wanted to give a reminder, Bike Derby, it's going to be Saturday, June 10th at 11 a.m. here at the Borough Building. And our state representative, Joe McAndrew, is going to be doing a shredding event, and that's going to be Saturday, June 17th at St. Joseph's Church parking lot. And that's going to go from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
10 p.m.
8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And I don't know, maybe. we can park the-
Yeah, I could get.
You wanna do that? Okay. And the other thing was, well, it's already been announced, there'll be a graduation parade on June 7th. Starting in Oakland, coming here and going back to Oakland. And that is my report. If there's any questions or comments, I'll be glad to take it.
Thank you.
If not, that concludes my report.
Can I just add
Sure.
two things to the events that she had? Roanoke Parks and Recreation events, June 9th. We will be playing a free movie in the park, and it will be the original version of Disney's Aladdin. And that will be June 9th at dusk here at Railroad Park. Dusk is roughly 9.
Roughly.
Just so
Roughly
people,
9,
because people show up at 7:30, so I gotta tell people, it doesn't get dark till about 9. So we can try to play the movie at 7, but you'll just hear it. You're too bright out, so plan on around 9 o'clock. Also Shakespeare in the Park, we are having 2 viewings this year. It was very popular last year. So the first one will be June 17th at 7 p.m. at Cribs, and that will be Hamlet. So that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you.
Could you ask him to do Midsummer Night's Dream, which helped my son out on months late?
Everybody's the best.
He's reading his first Shakespeare book.
Maybe next year.
I'd like to add also, along with Mrs. Provenza, State Rep Joe McAndrew is going to have a license plate thing the 24th of June for people that's license plates are falling apart or the paint's coming off them. And I believe that's going to be up at
That's going to be up at the school.
Shenandoah, I think, is it?
No, it's right on the
No,
Salzburg Road.
no, it's, I'm not sure exactly where, but it's on the website. So just a reminder to people. I have a couple things from COG. There's award letters going out for the year of grant year of 49. Grant letters are going out this week. Application for the blight, for any blight projects are due by June 16th. And that's pretty much what was going on there.
It's Linton Middle School.
Oh, it's Linton, Astor Drive,
Yes.
Yes.
Linton Middle School on Astor. Thank you.
Quick question, the light. Is that something we can use for
We are-
demolition?
We are looking at it. We are having some issues, but we are looking at it.
Okay.
They are changing the rules a little bit, so if a house, we would pick a house and then that house would, for some odd reason, be sold. You can't switch houses, so you just lose it. So we're trying to make sure the houses we choose.
I talked to Matt this afternoon about all this, so he's working on it with Steph,
Okay.
so. This time we'll go to comments from the public. This time, council hear comments on public related items. Please approach the podium or raise your virtual hand. Clearly state your name and address and try to limit your comments to 3 minutes, please. Nobody, Vince?
Yeah. The virtual hands. How long?
At this time, I'd like to have a motion to adjourn to executive session,
I'll make
and
that-
we have to come back.
make that motion
Second.
to adjourn.
First by Mrs. Dr. Carpenter, second by Mrs. Provenza. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passed.
I would suggest we just put them on the.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, is that okay? I didn't want to be rude. I was like.
He knows how little that room is back there. I will pause the video.
There's nobody on here.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll make the motion to adjourn.
No.
no,
No, you have to make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we return from executive session to our regular meeting.
But motion by Dr. Carpenter, seconded by Trish Resnick Showalter to come out of a section, executive session. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're back. All right, after some brief discussion in exec session, we had some nice conversations. I would like to have a motion to give Stephanie Wolford, our borough manager, permission to proceed with working up a contract and negotiate with the person that we favor, and we're gonna vote on hit that person in the June,
Business meeting.
the business meeting in June.
I'll
I'll
make
make,
that motion.
I'll second.
So moved by who first?
Me.
So, Mr. Provenza, second by Mr. Floda. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Passed.
Now you can do it.
Now I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Now we're adjourned.
First by Mrs. Provenza, second by Mr. Long. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passed. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you for everybody for listening and coming to our meeting. Have a nice evening.